Hello, my name is Alexander Miles, and this is my presentation on my paper on conflict analysis. It's hard to see with the lighting and everything right now, but this says Conflict Growth by Alexander Miles. It'd be easier if we were all in class. So this is my presentation. Okay. So what I wrote about and what my presentation is about is my relationship with my lovely girlfriend. I am basically going to be discussing about the lessons that I learned going into my relationship and throughout my relationship, which helped form my opinion on conflict and conflict analysis as a whole. And so hopefully that this will be, a learning experience for everybody. So if there's one thing I've learned, it's that conflict will arise. Even in a relationship where two partners share the exact same goals and are the exact same individually and everything, conflict still appears. Because at the end of the day, we're not carbon copies of each other. We're all different, and we all have different wants and needs and desires. And so what's important is not avoiding conflict and not denying it, but addressing it, handling it, healthily, constructively, and making it into a learning experience which strengthens the bond rather than something that's detrimental and harms it. So there's different argument styles that we all use to address conflict, and some of them can help a situation, make better learn a situation or resolve a situation, and some argument styles harm a situation and make it a detriment. For example, if your partner is expecting you to be accommodating or collaborative, and you instead are defensive and competitive, then that might harm the situation. But what I wrote about and what I discussed about was my use of accommodation early on in my relationship, to try and be the sort of handler of negative situations, and how I grew and developed into becoming more collaborative, because at the end of the day, growing and learning from all of my experiences, I learned that your needs are important too, and it's better to, instead of self-sacrifice, grow together, and so you're both happy, because no relationship is successful unless both people are feeling it. Okay, the next thing discussed is social exchange theory. Now, social exchange theory is simple. It's that everybody expects some sort of gains and benefits, which implies also losses and negatives to all of our relationships, interpersonal, girlfriends, parents, friends, siblings, children, and we measure, the effort that we should place into things and our expectations based on those gains. And so it's the reason you enter a relationship, and it's often the reason you leave one, is that if the expectations that you have are not met and you don't believe they're ever going to be met. And so what you can do with conflict is you can hear your partner's expectations, and you can either collaborate into reaching an understanding on what's actually applicable, what values we actually really place. For example, if your partner expects you to be a doctor, and you're like, okay, that's not really as applicable, and you negotiate it down to being like a pediatrician, then that's an example. And that is what you would want to do in the situation, is using social exchange theory, figure out how you can best accommodate each other and keep the relationship going and strong and build a long-lasting bond. Next is love language. So love language is how we all express how we feel about each other, and express our love in the best way that for us, how we best want to be loved. And what I talk about is my physical touch. That's my love language, and that's my love language because of how much it means to me to be touched and held, and how much I love touching and holding somebody else. Love language is important. It shows your partner how you would best want to be, loved. And conflict can arise with different love languages. For example, in my relationship, where I'm a physical touch kind of person, my girlfriend is a quality time kind of person. Often quality time for me is just hugging and cuddling, but quality time for her is much more in depth. And so what you want to do in a conflict situation is you want to address each other and reach an understanding and agreement on how you want to move forward on these issues and how you want to better bridge the relationship. So that's love language. And so that's my presentation. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all learned something about not only my relationship, but maybe some perspective on your relationship and the things that you care about. I hope this has been helpful. Goodbye.